Hello and welcome to the Blue Tweezer channel for our 2000 subscriber party. Hooray! Let me know in the channel you can see and hear me, and welcome to the party. 2000 subscribers, 2002 now it seems. So we're getting places. It's taken us 4 years to get there, 4 and a bit years to get there, but we're finally here. Crossing, good evening. Good to see you. Ambrun. All the regulars are in. Excellent, guys. Just going to send off the old messages and we'll get started. We'll get this party started. So, there we go. Right, that'll do. And, yeah. Have you all been? And I know it hasn't been long since my last chat. I think it's 2 weeks. But I thought this was a good enough occasion that we should do some. Fred, hi. Good to see you as well. Thank you. And yeah, 2000. Gosh, I started it 4 years ago. I didn't think I was going to get that many people. Probably about 150 was going to be my total. But yeah, it's really gone places, and that's really great. So, and as you see, I've got a little bit of decoration here. I have some party poppers as well, just to let off. So here we go. Hooray! And you can't really see, but we've got, and there's a horrible cordite smell now. Brilliant, well done. But we've and there's, so that's one for 1,000. This is for 2,000. So let's see if this is got all over me. So there you go. 2,000. So I'm not going to do 2,000 of those because I'll end up, the fire brigade will end up appearing. So James, thank you for popping in from Southern Ontario. Excellent. An old hunting ground of mine from well, a long time ago, 30 years ago, 30 years ago, 40 years ago, 40 years ago. Wow. And hey, Wardrobe, hello mate. Yeah, thanks for joining. And yeah, we're going to, so as I say, we've got the we got a bit of decoration here, some party poppers which have been let off, and we also have, of course, because these kind of chats always involve a little bit of alcohol, a bit of bolly, well, champagne, you know. If you know Absolutely Fabulous, it's you know, a bit of bolly, darling. So let's open this up as well. And join me if you've got any beverages around where you are. And I need to get a glass to my other half, of course, because she's in there, but she doesn't want to appear on camera. So, but yeah, let's just open it up. Now, it's possible that this can go whoosh all over my computer, and so therefore it'll be a very short stream. But I thought we'd take the risk. And maybe if I aim it away, and maybe the carpet gets the treatment. Right, here goes. Everybody hold your breath. TC, hello. Right. I tried not to move this too much when I got it. Oh, look at that. Well, yes, here we go. A little bit. And it mostly hit my trousers. So now I look really embarrassing if I stand up. But here we go. Get a bit of the bubbly in. I'm not driving. Well, I'm driving the chat, but not driving. Need a second glass for the other half. Have to go and call her quickly. But cheers, everybody. So, actually, you get a decent amount out of these little bottles, don't you? Yeah, it's only a little bottle because otherwise I'll get wasted and it won't be much of a chat then. It'll be more of a mumble. Give me a second while I deliver these. So chat amongst yourselves. Have a go at the nibbles, even though I haven't provided any, if you've got your own. I have got it here. Maria. Hello. Hello. Well, would you believe it? After all the hype, she's just gone and conked out. She's fallen asleep. Anyway, right, having done that and spilt most of it down my trousers. Cheers, everybody. Thanks for the subscriptions and everything. Here's to the next 2,000. Good grief. Another 2,000 people. Well, maybe another 4 years. May get there. Cheers. TC says, we met during PunchCon. Happily seeing one of your tweezers. Ah! Right. Yes. Yes, of course. From the Netherlands. Yes, I do remember you. We ended up having a long chat about... there was BCS, wasn't it? And a few other things. Yes, good to see you, TC. Hello. And if you haven't subscribed, then subscribe. I'm sure you've already subscribed. Simon, good evening. Yes, I'm just imbibing here because of the 2,000 subscribers. And this balloon will always turn sideways. It's really annoying. I can never get it to point the right direction for any length of time. But anyway, cheers. Yes, of course. I remember you had a long way to travel. Indeed. TC, absolutely. So good. Right, so what are we doing this evening rather than throw away the bits of paper, and I've got bits of cork here, and oh my god, it's all over the place. What do we got for you? Think, well, 2,000 subs. So yeah, 4 years. It all started with a video series of I think it was GMT's At Any Cost, Mets 1870, and yeah, I'm not quite sure why I necessarily did it. I thought, yeah, I said originally my idea about it was I was doing too much of the old setting up the game, looking at it, maybe playing a little bit of it, leaving on the table for several weeks, and then going, oh, no, let's go and do something else. So it was an attempt to keep me honest, because if I set up the game and then recorded a turn, then everybody would go, well, where's the other turns? And so it was kind of a psychological, a psychological incentive for me to go through and do all the actual the playthroughs. As long I haven't stuck to that, so some of them I've done a few turns and then turned off. But generally, that's because I've either moved house or this room here turns into a bedroom for visitors. So when they come and stay, everything has to be cleared away. Not the shelves stay up, but everything else has to go away. And if you can see just here, this is actually a fold-up bed, which comes out and turns it into a bedroom. So at that point, I have to put things away. And I suppose I'm just a little bit too lazy to have recorded everything and then, put it back in and keep going. So forgive me for that. But Stuka Joe's here. Oh, we have royalty. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you for joining the party, Stuka. Great stuff. And hopefully you've got some bubbly with you as well. I'll keep going with this. So long time ago, 4 years ago, Mets 1870 at all costs with the playthrough of the Mars Tour scenario. And I thought it went quite well, and a few people watching it, and so I thought let's just keep going, and it ended up going on to Holland 44 and Fields of Fire. And Fields of Fire did very well, especially after Alexander from the Players Aid picked up on it and liked the playthrough and then told everybody about it. And overnight, I think my subscribers jumped by a couple of hundred, so that was very useful. And then it went on from there. So mostly GMT at the start, but I've done a few others along the way. It's still mostly GMT. But as I got stuff coming through, I did a Gallipoli 1915 playthrough, which was quite heavy. I'm actually playing the game now on Vassal. Anyway, we'll go through that in a little while, like I usually do. Stronikov's in, yay! Hello, and Lee, yeah, thank you for the congratulations, thanks. Cheers again for you to. So anybody who pops into the chat, I'm going to take a swig. How about that? There's a. Hopefully, I don't get too many people. Otherwise, I'll be on the floor and you won't see me. So yes. Okay, so enough of the niceties. What am I going to show you? Well, I showed you a couple of new games 2 weeks ago on my chat, and it's been a veritable avalanche since then. So I've got a lot of new acquisitions of games to show you. So I thought I'd do a few of my patented crappy unboxings in front of everybody, and you won't be able to see much about it, but hopefully it'll be a little bit amusing. So first up that came through was a rather big bugger here, which was Race for Bastogne. Now I pre-ordered this through Second Chance Games, so they give you a little bit of a discount off the RRP if you do that in advance. And I must have done this well over a year ago. I did this when it was I don't think if it was first announced, but I think they were talking about it, and I saw it somewhere and thought, oh, GTS, lovely. So this is Grand Tactical System. It's 2-mapper about Bastogne, surprisingly enough. So it takes you from the Ore River line, I think it is, which is the starting point, the West Wall area for the Germans, and sweep across all the way across to Bastogne. So it's 2 maps, but they're end on end. So it's long and, well, relatively thin, but long 2-mapper with a little inset for the town of Wiltz. There's a little scenario that includes Wiltz. So these are the exclusive rules here. And we have, it's all glossy, usual MMP stuff these days. There's the maps laid out. Like, whoops, that's the wrong way. That's it there. So that's the maps as they're laid out. You can see the little Wiltz one just at the bottom there. And this turns in at 30, 40, 42 pages, 41 pages, and it's mostly scenarios, but there is a decent wodge of exclusive rules. That's up to, let's see, standard rules is up to page 16, and then there's some optionals which last for a further 2 pages. Then from 20 pages onwards, it's scenarios. We have, how many scenarios here? We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 scenarios here. So pretty good. And as is usual, the usual 2-column MMP GTS, certainly. The MMP glossy stuff with pictures and excerpts of tables, etc. 4 dice, 2 whites. There we go. White and blue, white and green. And here's the first of the maps, which I'll do my usual origami expertise of getting it out and showing it to everyone. And this is the map with Bastogne on, and I've got it all the way around. Let's turn it, and there we go. So I can't see the camera, hopefully you can see all that. And Bastogne, which I think is somewhere towards the middle. That's one of the maps. And we've got some counter sheets here now. So a couple of counter sheets. I don't know if you know GTS, but you have, it's sort of company sized and maybe platoon sized. They're color coded for different divisions. So the greenish stuff is the Americans, of course. The other stuff is the Germans. So I think that's Luftwaffe, of course, the light blue. The purple here is just a different, I think this is the artillery actually. I think that's the corps artillery or the army artillery. And nice big chunky counters actually, they're very nice. Standard world famous terrain effects chart for GTS. two sides unarmored and armored are the target, and then the coloured rows are all to do with weapon types that you're firing. Terrain effects chart, there's two sides to it. So this side is all about roads, and the other side are all about not roads. More counters, again, Americans and Germans. Here, got such highlights as 10th Armoured, 9th Armoured for the Americans. We've got 2nd Panzer here, and who else? Yeah, it's mostly 2nd Panzer, a little bit of Panzer as well here as well. And another map, another arm knotting attempt. This is a little bit more, it doesn't have Bastogne as a focus, but you've got the river down here, which is the crossing, is the river to cross. The Germans have to start by crossing. And I think, is there Clairvaux somewhere here? Somewhere here. Yeah, Clairvaux is, if I unwrap it again, Clairvaux is kind of in the second panel here, somewhere down here. Hope you can see that. So that's the second map. We're into, this is Panzer and some information markers. So it's the dark grey is Panzer. Lots of lovely things like Panthers, lots of Panthers, Panzer IVs, and various other bits and pieces here. We have the little inset map for, there is actually two inset maps. One is Bore C, this one. So that's actually part of the main map, but they give you a little map to do the little scenario with. That's kind of northeast of Bastogne. And then this is the Wiltz map, which is actually not on the main map. Is that right way up? It's the right way up, yeah. It's just off the south of the main map for a little scenario as well. Standard 2.0 Grand Tactical Series rules. You get in every one of them, and of course they are 39 pages long. I won't go through that because you've probably seen that before in a couple of many unboxings. Not that you haven't seen this game already, I presume. Information markers, more information markers, another terrain chart, more information markers. There's lots to this, and we've got to keep going. We've got some more information markers here. That'll be barrage markers and German entrenchments and improved positions. We have the off-board map display, so you can move around the outside of the map. And we've got the divisional tracks. So this is the 101st Airborne track, 8th Corps and 28th Division, Panzer, second Panzer here, 26 Volt Grenadier, which I think does the bulk of the work. Little blue separator paper, and the turn track. And that's it. That's all you got here. That's certainly enough for any wargamer, I think. So that's Race for Bastogne. I've got quite a few others to go through, so I'm not going to dwell too much. But it's GTS. If you know GTS, you'll know this game. I've been waiting for it for a long time. Let's just put that away, so I don't end up with all kinds of game bits all over the floor. One down next. Who came? So these two came together. But if you're a fan of the channel, this will be. Hey, Tony's in. Hey, hello, Tony. And he's at Disney World. Oh, great. Okay. Well, cheers. As I said, somebody new it comes into the chat. I have a drink of bubbly. So there you go. And David, thanks. Thanks for the congratulations. And Peter, Gosh, I'm running out. Right. So if you're a fan of the channel, you'll have seen this one before with my much publicised and much delayed playthrough I did with Mark Walker from Flying Pig Games. It is, of course, The Long Road. And you can't see most of this because it's glossy. I've still got the shrink wrap on the lid, and you can just see reflections off my screen. But this was Kickstarter, of course, and we did get some extras. First extra to mention I got from the Kickstarter was this mouse mat. Very nice indeed. We also got some extra cards, and I can't work out which ones were the extra cards. I have looked through this, so it's not a complete unboxing, but we have cards here. I'll go through those in a minute. Some dice and a few little cubes. We have the very efficient player aid card. It's just one with two sides, so that's the combat and assault table there. And it's just firepower at the top. Column shifts only. There are no DRMs, and there's the results, which is the number of dice you roll to check against the morale of the unit that you're hitting. And it also works not only for armoured but unarmoured as well. It's all on the same chart. Assault here for overruns and assault combat, and on the other side we've got the terrain. So that's the thing. We have a campaign book. So this is linked to Mark's novels about the Third World War caused by supernatural means. Number of scenarios we have here. It doesn't actually give us a list at the start. So, but they are numbered, so I'll have a look at the end. So we've got 18. Yeah, 18 scenarios here done out. There are bits of map here for setups and things, but it's mostly just the writing. And a bit of background on each, so there's a little bit of excerpt, I suppose, from the novel for each of those. So those scenarios would be NATO, Warsaw Pact, and the funnies, the zombies or the werewolves or vampires. Here's the rule book. So this is 39 pages long. Does have an index, very nice. Yeah, full colour again. Pictures of some of the counters. Stuff in red. There's little sort of bits in red here, which is the designer talking in the middle of the rule book. So there's quite a bit of that. And yeah, if you're interested in the game, have a look at the playthrough I did with Mark. We will be continuing that towards the end of this month, so watch out for that. We'll be beginning seeing if my Soviets can get away from all those werewolves. Now we have what's known as the tactics book. So the tactics book, it excludes the paranormals. So it's just Warsaw Pact NATO. And scenarios we have here is, well, we have yeah, well, there's different ones actually here. So we have 6 normal tactic scenarios. We have 2 East German scenarios, which include the East Germans, and then there are 2 solitaire scenarios here. So quite a lot of play there, in addition to the standard scenarios, as the standard campaign scenarios. Turn record track here, of course. And here we go with the counters. So if I bring those in, so this is based on the Platoon Commander series. So the counters are made up in the same way. The reds are zombies, greens are Lycans, the dark browns, those are the Soviets. And the greens, which are here, are the US NATO. So it really is the US. There is the Fatherland expansion, which also came out at the same time. I didn't get it, which includes the West Germans. So, but I believe there are East Germans though somewhere. And what have we got here? There's, I think, these are the East Germans, with some Russians and Americans next door. So they're sort of the medium green. These are all the East German counters. Lots of Soviet tanks, T-80s, T-74, 72s, T-64Bs. There's some BMPs down the bottom here, and part of the rules here are the focus and aid counters, which allow you to do special rallies and special extra combat. And you manipulate that each turn. You manipulate those counters. You can move them about the board. You can flip them over to be made more powerful. Here's the Americans. Abrams tanks at the top. M113s and Bradleys, and then the infantry down here as well. A few extra things. We've got the aid and focus markers here. Sheridan's, Pattons, Cobra helicopters. Yeah. Tow and Dragon, ATGM units, teams as well. Here we're getting into the information markers, but we've still got some Soviets here, Spetsnaz, squads, BTR 70s here, some Cobras here, Heinz, MI 24 Heinz, and yeah, information markers there. More information markers, but more Soviets as well. This is the Soviet infantry here. A few more other things, bridges, mortar units, more helicopters. So, and they're fired markers, moved markers, and disrupted markers on the back. You can see, there we go, and one of the counters popped out. They're all pre-rounded, and they all pop out pretty easily. So very, very nice quality on that. And finally here we have a few more of the weirdos. So the blues here, that actually is the vampires. We've got more werewolves, more zombies. These are the puker units. Wonderful. And then a few other bits and pieces here along and around there. Right, so mounted map boards. There's 3 of them, and they're isomorphic. What's the hex scale? Good question. Let me dig out the... It's not long. It's not big. I mean, there's certainly a huge range here. No, that's not the rulebook. Let's have a quick look. Rulebook, yes. So, I should really know and should have told you. General concept. Each hex represents approximately 150 meters. So yeah, very, very tactical. It's a very tactical game. Yeah, so fully mounted map boards, very nice. And here's one of them. Is that upside down? I think it is upside down. So there's one of them there. And I say they are isomorphic, so you can butt them up against each other. There's 3 of them. Very nice hex size as well. If you look, the hex size, where you've got this sort of outline of the hexagon. I can't point in reverse, sorry, but yeah, you can see this kind of thing here. So they're nice big hexes, so you can put multiple counters themselves are quite big, sort of 5/8, I think, inch ones, but the hex is even bigger. Here's another one. This one has a river going through it and a bigger town in the middle. But again, nice quality. If you can see the thickness there. Third one here, and this is the last thing to look at. This one has a lake and a tunnel, presumably for particular things in the campaign, which mention. There we go again. So that's the long road. So you will see this again on the channel fairly shortly to complete, well, hopefully complete our scenario ambush. of the Soviets by a load of werewolves. And if you haven't seen that, do have a look on the channel for that. We did have a horrible echo, which we will endeavour to get rid of next time off Mark Walker's mic. But yeah, shame about that. But anyway, focus on the game. Towards the end of it, I was trying not to actually talk so you wouldn't get the echo. So it gets better through the video. And Michael's in. Hello. Yes, thank you. And yeah, as I've been saying to everybody else, anybody new comes on to the chat, and then I take a swig. Real champagne. Where's it from? Lallier Grand Reserve. Pinot Noir and Chardonnay mix. Very nice. Yes, from France. Okay, so that's a long road. Now, coming along with that in the same box is what I like to call a most fearful hernia, or most fearful sacrifice, sorry. This heavy box from Flying Pig Games, Herman Luttmann's magnum opus for Gettysburg. And there's a lot in here. Well, there's a lot of heavy stuff in here. So I have gone through this, so I have actually pulled the counters out, and there is a counter sheet which isn't pre-rounded, so of course I clipped those. So in the bags here, but just going through what we have here, we have a scenarios book which is 28 pages long, and the scenarios we have, do they say at the front? No, they don't. What's the last scenario number? It's a long one, so I think it's the full game here, so forgive me while I fiddle with the pages. Scenario 12, so there's 12 scenarios in this. Got map layouts, and one of the things that actually came in, because this was Kickstarter as well, came with a few freebies, and so what we definitely got was, here is yet another mouse mat. This is bigger than the Long Road one, but very nice again. And also these border strips. I haven't seen these before. So what these are, they're made of the mouse mat material, this sort of neoprene stuff. But you can mark out scenario boundary edges with these. And I think I'll be using those for quite a few games. Anyway, so we've got 4. 2 Confederate ones. Oh, that's 2 Union. There's a Confederate one. And, no, 2, yeah, that's a Confederate one. Yep. There we go. So those came in as well. We also got a special card pack, which I haven't opened, which is the cards for activation cards for if Stonewall Jackson was still alive at Gettysburg, hadn't died at Chancellorsville, so that's a sort of what if added in. We also got card sleeves with Flying Pig Games on the back, which I've used. Unfortunately, there's 90 cards, and I only ended up getting 88 card sleeves. It's a bit of a worry, a bit of a problem. But anyway, I've put them in anyway. So here's the rule book with index again. Always very useful. And this is, how many pages long? This is 31 pages. There's a comprehensive example of play here, which is a fair few pages of that. I've read that. That's very useful, actually. Getting concepts. And so we do have 24 pages of rules, which is not a complete knockout for a monster game like this. The sort of orangey areas are explanations, examples. There's a yellowy note area as well. You can just see, there we are, like this area or that area. Those are notes and explanations. Yeah, so that's that. We have the counters. So This is based on the Devil to Pay, I think, Tiny Battle Publishing. So there's not a lot on the counters. So if I get one out and have a look at it. So there's a strength point and morale level. That's a 7, then a 4. And then it shows you how many of these units are in a brigade. So the 3 stars down the side show you three units in that brigade. On the back you get what's known as the battle worn side, and if you've seen the At Any Cost Mets 1870, you know what all that's about. Is they tend not to come back from that reduced capability. Lots of counters here. Full of stuff. We have some informational stuff here. These are shaken markers and all shaken markers, so you use one marker for the whole stack. They're all shaken. And then we have the cards. So the cards come in, they're all kind of used, well, most of them are used together. So what we have is we have divisional and core cards. So this is a core card here. This is Howard. Sorry about the reflection. And when that core's activated, when you pull that card, you roll to see how effective the activation is going to be, 1 to 6. And you have, that's a replacement general for the same core if he dies. And then you have these division cards, which are put on a display in order of priority, and depending on what you rolled on the core is how many of these you get to activate, and it's usually not all of them. Most of the time it's just the one. So we've got a lot of those here. These are all division and cores. So these division cards never go into a stack, into a card drawer. Then we have things called Commander-in-Chief cards, which are like events favourable. These ones are for the Union. You have Meade, the overall commander. You've got a general leadership card. You have one for Reynolds, and you have one for Hancock. So they've got 4 cards there for the Union. On the Confederate side, they only get Lee. That's the only card they get for these CNC cards. After that, they get a whole set of event cards, and you get to pick 2 per turn, and then another 5, which you don't know what they are, come into the deck, and you seed the deck. Both sides seed the deck with their core markers, CNCs. These, let's say 7 of these each side. Put it all together, and you start drawing them, and that's how you do the activations. So there's a few other bits and pieces. There's a Fog of War card. There's also a Friction of War card. But that's the... Now, it's going to be difficult to get... I need to get all the cards out to be able to get the rest of the stuff out. So let's start with... So this is one of these displays where you put the division cards out. There's one track per core. I'm just wondering, it may have been easier to do it a slightly less massive way, rather than using cards on this, because the division cards don't go into the card deck. You don't actually need to use cards. You could have used counters or something like that and made these a little bit smaller. There's probably a method to the madness. Here's the sort of big criticism of the game that's been so far, which is this is the combat results table, and as you can see, the writing's pretty small. And here we've got combat events and close combat events tables. Again, pretty small. But then you get to this is the sequence of play, and yeah, that's really minute. I'm struggling to see that, and the terrain effects chart back here is not that much better. And I do understand. I understand that they're actually going to be publishing PDFs of slightly bigger player aid cards of those tables, etc. Right, now I'm going to embarrass myself by attempting to take one of the maps out while not taking all the bags and the cards out. And I've got one. I have one. We have success. Oh, one other thing that came for free with the Kickstarter was these are special dice, blue for Union, grey for Confederate. These are the standard dice, so the colours of these match the pips of these, so you can use that. I'm not sure that they're not as easy to read as actually as the originals, but this is the map. Now this is probably one map I'm not going to completely get out because this is humongous. So that's half of the map, and it's not going to get in camera anyway. So Rick Barber map, of course, and there's a little Rick Barber note in the game, dedication to him. I've got his map of Gettysburg from Summerstorm behind me, but this is bigger. These are bigger hexes. Again, nice hex size. Not as big as the Long Road, but nice and big. A lot of space there. I'm not going to get the other map out because yeah, I'll get swamped. There's a lot of stuff here, but it's a lot of game. I know it's not the cheapest thing in the world, but it is a lot of game. Looking forward to having a go at this on the channel. I'm not going to probably be able to do the whole thing because I don't have the space, but still. Where are we? We are... Bob's in. Hi, Bob. Thank you very much. That's another subscriber in. So, cheers. Every single new person in the chat. It's a swig. Stigler's in as well. Yep, here we go. Oh, we've got a little song there from Bob here. Happy 2K subbers to you. Happy 2K subbers to you. Happy 2K subbers, Blue Tweezers. Happy 2K subbers for you. Thank you very much. Thank you. Oh, one thing I can show you, which if you've seen my Twitter feed, you would have seen this. But this was my 2,000 subscriber dance when I found out while I was still at UK Games Expo with my daughters, and one of them was with me, so you should be able to see this if I get myself out of the way. There we go.
2,000 subscriber dance. 2,000 subscriber dance. 2,000 subscriber dance. 2,000 subscriber dance.
So that is the official.
2,000 subscriber.
There we go. So that is the official 2,000 subscriber dance song. Yeah, it's not going to win any prizes, is it? But I found it funny. I hope you did too. If you didn't see it, there you go. So go onto my Twitter feed and you can see that. If you want to replay it, not sure why you would, but there you go. And Hulker, hello. No sickles. No. Oh, for most fearful sacrifice. I'll take your word for it. Yes, is the I'll have to get back to you on sickles. Don't know what's happening. It's called Commander. Yes, not Division Commander. Yeah, probably I showed you the wrong card. So yeah, it should be there. It should be there somewhere. I'm not going to open it up again because I'll never get it back in a box. But yes, I didn't show you all those cards. But yeah, is there a vassal model for Fearful Sacrifice? Not yet. I have looked. Oh yeah, I looked very, very quickly and didn't see it. So well, Stigler, if you're in the house and you are so inclined, if you want to produce one. Oh, I forgot. There was a couple of bits from the Long Road I didn't show you. So cards. So these are kind of event cards. These are the NATO and Warsaw Pact ones. So there's two options on the card depending on what side you are, and you can play those during the game. You also have other ones here which are for the zombies, vampires, and lycans, werewolves, etc. And so they get their own little deck as well. What we've also got here is these cards. So these are what they call the champions, I think, of the paranormal sects. So they're not like normal counters. They don't sort of disrupt, flip, and then die. These actually have kind of health tracks, and they never actually die. So if you kill them, they're not in the scenario anymore, but they don't actually. You haven't actually killed them permanently anyway. And I did show you the dice, didn't I? Yeah. So sorry, I put those out of the way and missed that. So that was the. So 3 big games appeared very quickly, 2 weeks ago, and then I went to UK Games Expo, and they had a bring and buy sale there. So I thought that was interesting. I had a look around. 99.999% not war games. It was rail games and fantasy games and all this kind of shelves upon shelves. Huge amount there. I was quite surprised. Lots and lots of stuff. Stigler says that's not dancing. That's big up wiggling. Are you dissing my daughter there? You dissing my daughter? No, that's me. Not hers, mine. Yeah, that's true. And Hulky added to collection. Yeah, it's more playable, I think, than the other Gettysburgs. It's meant to be a lot more playable. I've had a look at the rules, had a skim through. Seems okay. Still a little bit intricate. I would say it's very much a light GBACW. There are very GCACW kind of stuff, the Death Valley kind of stuff, Into the Woods stuff there, but there's not as much of it. But some of the concepts are very similar. But the card system, the activation, is supposed to be the thing in the game. Wiggle Wiggle says, yeah, exactly. Wiggle Wiggle. I mean, yeah, that's a dance. Honest. Bob says, does the zombies vampire stuff interest you at all? It is not for me, I have to say. Well, I think if you've seen my my guest appearances on the War Room, where they're very much into their tactical games, they've all said, "Are you into the tactical games?" I said, "No, I was an old squad leader player, and I kind of done that, been there, done that." So I haven't bought things like old school tactical and lock and load and all that kind of stuff. The only thing I've kind of concentrated on is Fields of Fire and a bit of TCS, I suppose, which is not quite, it is tactical, but quite high scale tactical. But when I saw this, and I thought, vampires and zombies, along with T-70s and M1 Abrams, I thought that's cool. That's got to be fun. Yeah, it was just kind of wacky. And I thought, yeah, I could go for that. And that's why I got it, even though it was a tactical game. So, yeah, I actually got it because of that, rather than, that it was a tactical combat 1980s game and this extra stuff was just along. That's the kind of stuff that interests me. Yeah, so that's me. Yeah, there is a Long Road Vassal and a TTS. Of course, you've seen the TTS. So those are available, but not a Fearful Sacrifice yet. No offense to her. No, it was me with the big guy, not her. It's all right. No, I wouldn't. Hopefully, she's not watching this. Then you're in trouble. But obviously, yeah, very much a Euro game show. It is very little hex encounters, but I did find some in this bring and buy. That's what I was talking to you about. Yes. Yeah, it looks like a consensus of not that interested in the paranormals. Well, yeah, but I'm kind of a wacky guy. You have to be to run a channel like this. So I got 3 things off the bring and buy. So the first one, these were £30 each. I don't know, $45, something like that. So the first one was a copy of Operation Dauntless from GMT. Now, a little story here. So Operation Dauntless, I did actually P500 this. And when it came out, GMT just forgot to send me it. They forgot to charge me and forgot to send me it. And I rang them up, and it was about the same time that I think it was Skies Above the Right came out as well. And I received that. So I rang up and said, what gives here? And they went, "Oh, sorry, we forgot you." Completely forgot. Charge, ship, nothing. And they said, "Oh, we can send it to you." And at the time, I was a little short of money. Said, "Okay, no, forget it." They said, "Oh, we can just refund it." And I said, "Yeah, that'll do." So I've never actually had it. I did have Red Winter. Kind of like the system. Not sure I'd like the actual battle itself. Seemed a little bit of a grind. Not sure about all the stuff going on the ice and things. It just just didn't gel with me. But this is the same system, and it's punched. 30 quid, I suppose, is a reasonable price. One thing you do get with this is just oodles of books. So you get a reference book. This is about one of the minor operations in Normandy by the British Army just before Operation Epsom. So this was a sort of gain some special ground. So yeah, this is OB notes, game elements, units and weapons, historical notes, map maker's notes, order of battle. So that's your reference book. You have a playbook which has examples of play, how to link scenarios into a campaign, tips and strategies, counter manifest, unit descriptions. So you haven't even got to the rules yet. This is the scenario book, still no rules. So these are the scenarios, tutorial scenarios, standard game scenarios, campaign game, and some optional rules as well. So I think, I don't know how many, there's quite a lot of scenarios here, I think. There's quite a lot of tutorial scenarios, and is it 7? 7 other scenarios? No, more than that. 8. Wow, loads. 14. Yeah. 16 normal scenarios and a few 10 tutorial scenarios. So loads and loads of play in this scenario book. And finally we get to the rule book. Hey. So, and as I understand it, this is very, very similar to Red Winter. There's just a few things changed, but most of it's exactly the same. Standard GMT kind of stuff, you know. Bit of colour. There we go. Any reactions here? Stigler's noticing the big old stack of La Bataille on the shelf there. Yes, here. It's not all La Bataille. So, one of them is actually operational. The Clash of Arms operational one instead. I think the other ones are, yeah, Auerstat, Quattlebar, Ligny, Eylau, and Lutzen are the ones I've got there. The one on top here is Coulson Pocket, the original Coulson Pocket. Here's the map, just one mapper, which I understand people know as by the moniker of green, and I think it's deserved. But I don't know, I quite like the quite livid green here. Nice big hexes again. Good for the old fingers, good for the old eyes. So that's fine. We have some player aid cards here, quite a few actually, and set up. So LOS determination, armor reaction cycle. That's the normal player aid card, which is double. Second one, and then we got reinforcement cards. This is the German reinforcements card, which is bigger, and some getting started stuff. So getting started number 2, getting started number 1, that's infantry and armor. Campaign game setup and symbols. Another player aid card for optional rules here. Things like counter battery fire, fanatical defense, British disorientation, variable weather, and command checks. And then an information track and a turn track. So it's all very colourful actually. Well, it's 2 turn tracks actually, one on the back as well. It's all quite colourful. The kind person who sold me this anonymously also provided counter trays, so it's all, and they're all clipped. So there you go. And 2d10s, 3d10s, and 3d6s as well. I won't bother showing you those. You've seen those before. So yeah, for 30 quid, I thought that was good. And I'm kind of interested in the situation, and I should have had a copy anyway. And I've got this cheaper than I would even with the P500, I think. So certainly including shipping. So I think I did all right there. So what do we hit next? So now here's an oldie and a goodie. £30 for that. Ambush, original Ambush. On its own, none of the expansions. But yeah, 1983. I used to have a copy of this, which disappeared a while ago. And you must know Ambush. These paragraphs and little cards for the Germans, details of and again, I'm going to struggle to get this out. We've got a player aid card here, and the old. And if you played it, you'll know this thing. It's the little look-up system for the programmed cards, of which I've got quite a few here. It's a stack of them here. So you fit that in the sleeve, and you look it up. You look up where you are, and there's different ones in the different scenario. It's kind of an escalation. You change cards occasionally in scenario depending on where you've been and what you've done. Maps, 2 maps. Again, if you've ever played this, you'll probably know this map in your sleep. You need to study it massively because you fight over and over and over, fight it over and over and over. So yeah, I think I'll probably finish it there. The counters are there. It is punched, of course. Has been used a bit, not a huge amount, probably 4 or 5 times, I think. Yes, if you all remember that plane crashing overhead, that was always a big thing. So yeah, 30 quid for that. I think that was very, very worth it. James, you're a big fan of Ambush. Exactly, yes. And Stigler, yeah. Yeah, getting a lot of love lately. Really, lots of other people. And Holger, about Dauntless. Focus battle in the Normandy campaign reminds me of Panzer Blitz. Really? If you play, okay, wasn't a fan of Panzer Blitz, so that's a little bit of a worry. Bob sold the expansions. Oh well, there you go. Yeah, well, there's always those mistakes. And so the third one I got, and I'm rabbiting on here, was again for 30 quid. How about that? VG's Carrier, eh? So, and this is partially punched. So yeah, it. I must admit, with a game this age, and also with the Ambush, they're a bit dusty, and I suffer from hay fever, so dust allergy. So, actually, sort of going through that, I have to go and sit down in the corner and sneeze my nose off after doing this. But yeah, quite famous. It was like the other brother of Take Care Express, which I've got up there. So I've finally got this. Partial reason is because Rough Swordsman Wargamer, who if I do the stuff out on Wednesdays with, he was doing a print and he was constructing a print and play version of this. So I thought I'd upset his evening on Wednesday to say, hey, look, I picked up a copy for 30 quid. So, but he wasn't that upset. Damn. So yeah, there's your map of the Solomons, New Guinea, and solitaire game, of course, and fiendishly difficult to beat, just like Take Care Express. We have some of the counters in the counter tray, but a lot of and some are in the bags, but also some of them still stuck on their sprues, but everything in bags. So that's Carrier. So I'll probably be doing some of that on the channel. Actually, I'm getting my arse whipped. I'll just find out if it's just as difficult as Comancheria, probably. In which case I'm not going to win. Okay, so those were the 3 I found, but I also did buy a couple of new games. Now these aren't strictly war games. In fact, they're not war games at all. One of them I've got behind me over there on the table, and if we have time and people haven't fallen asleep yet, we might just run through that game because it's very quick. It's actually timed. You can only play it for 15 minutes, and if you run out of time, you lose. So, and that one's called Lux Eterna. This one actually a very similar game, and done by a British company in Norwich, which is in East Anglia, to the east of England, and this is called Escape the Dark Sector. And what this is about is being one or more characters who are escaping a space station which has been attacked by something nasty, and you're trying to get away, and you have your characters have to survive till the end to get off the space station. I'll have a quick look through it. I won't go through it too much. It's not a war game, admittedly. There's the rule book, not very long. It is, well, it's 25 pages, but as you can see, there's not a huge amount of writing there. You have these big cards. So you have what you do is you build a sort of narrative deck that you have to work through to get to the end, and the last card is kind of like a boss that you have to kill to get to the end. So these are your starting cards. That starts the story. These are the ending cards, and then you've got 3 lots of other cards. So they have these little scopes on the back, and they've got either 1 dot, 2 dots, and 3 dots. And you build the narrative with some 1 dot cards, then 2 cards, then 3 dot cards as they kind of get tougher, I suppose. And then you've got the actual characters you're playing. So you pick one of these, and they've got certain different advantages over each other. You have, which is quite cute, I think. It comes with 4 of these little pencils and these little life hit point charts. So you actually chart where your hit points. They start at 12 at the top, and if they ever hit 0, of course, you're dead, and you lose the game. Even if just one person's dead, you lose the game. And so every time you get a hit point change, you mark it on the map, and you get a kind of graph going, which is quite cute. Not strictly necessary, but quite cute. Oops, almost lost the whole thing. We have some player aids here. We have items here that you can pick up along the way, or when you defeat monsters, a bit kind of like treasure, I suppose. You have 2 special actions here, which is you can try and flank your opponents, or you can use the medical droid to try and get some hit points back. You've got either a mission accomplished or a mission failed cards with a story on the back. And here you have cybernetic enhancements. You get one of these for each character at the start of the game. You then get these dice. They are black dice, and which are effectively hit point dice for your enemies. So there are symbols here. There's a symbol for might, for wisdom, and for cunning, which are kind of the 3 stats in the game. And baddies have a certain number of these dice. You have a character dice here, which, depending on which character is, you have very good. Of the 3, you have 1 very bad, 1 average, and 1 good stat. So, which is reflected in the number of sides on the dice for rolling. And then you have smaller dice here, which is what you roll to hit things with, and then there's known as hit dice, which is what the opponents hit you with on ranged combat. So yeah, the specialized dice, there's what was it, 5, 6, 24 dice of the little dice, and then 15 of the big dice here. So that's quite fun. It doesn't take very long to play, and I just kind of fancied it, and there was a little game company from England, and I thought, well, why not? So there we have it. That's Escape the Dark Sector. Loads of replayability because of all these cards. You only use about 10 of these cards at a time. So there's lots of replayability of things you'll find. A lot of narrative, as you would suppose. And Lux Turner, which is the other one, they're actually it's kind of a very similar game, but quicker. And so we'll have a look at the time, see if I've been blagging on enough. We won't bother, but if you do, let me know if you want to see that game, and we will run through it. So almost there, one more. So this is what arrived day before yesterday from GMT, Red Storm Baltic Approaches. You've seen that I've done some playthroughs, a playthrough with rough of Red Storm. So this adds new map, adds things like the Danes and the Poles. Yeah, I've had this one out and had a look at it. That's one of the maps. Very similar to the Red Storm, the whole Downtown series. Same style of map here. That's sort of bits of Denmark there, with bits of East and West Germany down the bottom. If I can stretch that up a bit more. Yep. And then you've got bits of Sweden as well. Here's the second map. Exactly the same system. So a few special rules, of course. Not that much different from Red Storm because it's exactly the same time frame. It's basically, the difference is the naval stuff. So you've got a new task known as Naval Strike and another one called Marine Patrolling. So there's two more things that your flights can do. Appendices book. So that will give you the orders of battle, so you roll to see what you get at the start of a scenario. Rules of play, very thin. It's only 15 pages long. But what they've done is they've used the numbering sequence in the Red Storm manual and just added paragraphs. So, for example, there's a section 2, game equipment, and then we rapidly move on to section there. Let me get out of the camera. Section 8 here, and then you can see it goes on to section 15 and stuff. So it's just the extra rules laid out as a sort of addendum to the main rule book. Scenario book here, nice and chunky. We have we have 25 normal scenarios, we have 2 campaigns, and we have 4 solo scenarios. So that's enough for anybody. Certainly me, I'll never get to close to doing all of them, or even half of them, I suppose. But and it's 47 pages long, exactly the same layout as Red Storm as well. New air data cards here, so this gives us a few more aircraft. Although some of the aircraft are very similar. So, for example, there's a German Tornado, but this is the Navy version, so it's added the use of things like Corpsman missiles and stuff like that. We also have a Swedish aircraft here as well, which wasn't in nowhere near in the original. And then on the back, you actually have these are actually ships. So all the characteristics of the ships, things like air defense from ships, how tough they are, etc. What radar they have, and everything like that. So yeah, this is the Soviet one. Again, so few aircraft, but on the back here you've got the surface ships and no submarines. So even though there were anti-submarine scenarios, just get the those are the remains of the popper. Even though they're anti-submarine scenarios, what it is things are hunting for the submarines, and then there's a raid to try and get rid of them. So also of interest here is actually surface-to-surface and air-to-surface missiles for Navy. So things like harpoons and kitchens and things like that. An extra player aid card, like Red Storm needed an extra player aid card. Like this is player aid card 6. So this has slightly different detection page, different air to ground, so air to navy, and also different random events. So yeah, I've done that. What else have we got? Hey, we have one counter sheet, which a couple have been punched out because I've been playing with it. But there we go. Again, very much the same as Red Storm. I think these are the Soviets, of course. This is the Danish up the top, the pinks. There's some more British, West German, and these are Swedish, and then American. So this brings in the sort of carrier air wing. So you've got Tomcats, and of course the interesting thing, of course, if I can show you up to the camera, I'm not sure you can see it, is I think it's there, is that we've got F-14 Tomcat flights with Maverick and what's the other one? Iceman and Viper. So from Top Gun, which has just come out again, the film. I haven't seen it yet. A few other different information markers, but only one counter sheet. This is the US data card. So again, same thing. We've got a few new aircraft, but on the back it's just got it just tells you about the aircraft. We have a naval log sheet, so you might have known the flight log sheet for the series, but these are naval log sheets, so you create task forces, which are basically targets with whatever defense they have. And then I think the biggest game box insert I've ever seen. So that's, yeah, it's not quite, it's a fingernail depth to be able to put stuff in, and then you've got the insert with this tiny bit here for dice and baggies. Yeah, that's one thing that's really useful for though. So if I take the insert out, I can put my dark blue defection, which is the Howard Riggs solo version, unofficial expansion to Red Storm, in this box. Without, I mean, normally it's in a sort of it's in a baggie, but there's big space in here. And to be honest, the Red Storm stuff needs a bit more space as well. So I think it's a good idea, but that's just the hugest insert I've ever seen. It's like about 5/6 of the depth of the box. But that's Baltic Approaches. One thing I have spotted though is they don't have a planning map in here, but they have issued one on the website, so that's fine. I sent them an email, and within a day somebody noticed that they'd actually put a planning map for download on the GMT site. So yeah, I don't know if that was an oversight or they were meaning to do that, but I'm sure I didn't see one before. What have we got in the chat here? So Brun says Red Storm is awesome. Indeed. Yeah, indeed. You want to get that too, go for it. Yeah. Air crossing's interesting. Living in Sweden and born in Denmark. Absolutely. There's both of those air forces in there. There's lots of Denmark in it. Not so much of Sweden. It's the southern Sweden area, sort of Malmo, Helsingborg kind of area, and sweeping around. But it's mostly Denmark on the map. There is solo scenarios, but there is always solo scenarios in the Downtown series. So certainly Red Storm itself has some, and there is solo rules for the earlier ones as well. Not much space to hide in the Baltic if you're a ship. Indeed, that's right. There's but at that scale, there's actually quite a lot of sea hexes. So how it works, having skimmed the rules again, is that you're unidentified. A bit like a flight, you're unidentified, but you can be detected by naval detection. So you've got the air detection system, which is that table with the A, B, C, D, E, F. You've got a similar thing for the Navy. So you can be detected. So the task force has a question mark side, and then you flip it over to whatever task force number it is. But then you have to be identified. You have to identify it to attack it, because you don't want to attack your own ships. So you've got two types of identification. There's surface search radar in some aircraft, which you can do from 8 hexes away, which will give you a radar identification. But then if you go close enough, you'll get visual identification, and that gives you the ability to then attack it. So rather than I've detected but not sure it is, let's attack it, in the air, in the Navy, you kind of have to go through the identification sort of regimen to get to the point where, okay, I know this is something nasty, I can then attack it with my aircraft. And by that time, that's probably sending loads of SAMs and ACAC at you as well anyway. There are air-to-ship missiles which have range, and they stay on the board, so you can launch from a long way away, which is quite interesting. They're effectively aircraft. They're like other flights. But yeah, it's good. Cole's in the house. Hello. Yes. Extra person needs a drink. To Cole, still need you need to send me an email. I've replied you twice on the comments you made with my email address. Do get in touch because you wanted to play a game, and I'm very very much into that. So do look at your the actual your comments that you've made where you've asked to contact me, and I've actually replied with my email address with the dot as dot rather than dot, but you know that's the usual thing. Crossing needs to get a copy of Red Storm. Yeah, absolutely, you do need before you can get the Baltic approaches. Indeed. Game comes with a huge amount of free space. Yes, I know, which will be useful for getting Dark Blue Perfection, which is here. I've got in. Yeah, that's this stuff, which is a campaign, a solo campaign for Red Storm. So this I should be able to be put into the Baltic Approaches box because of all that space. But yeah, it is quite ridiculous. You can store baggies under the raised portions. Indeed, you can, or you can just get rid of the old raised portions anyway. Right. Cole, yes, get in touch. Absolutely. Yes. I'm out of games. That's it. That's all the new stuff. What is it? One, two. God, we're talking about 8 games here, including the one on the way. And so that's my new games. So upcoming things. So we've got the second episode of the playthrough with Mark Walker for the long road. That should be on the 29th of June. I should be playing that. We've just finished Atlantic Chase with Ruff, so we'll be coming up with a new game for those playthroughs on Wednesdays as well. I just won as the British. It was very close. Have a look at that if you haven't seen it. The Atlantic Chase, it's a great game, really good, and yeah, bends your mind quite a bit while you're playing it. And also we will have another face-to-face or virtual face-to-face playthrough of Salerno 43 coming up towards the end of the month. So I'll be announcing more details on that on the channel. So look for that. So a bit of Salerno 43 from GMT Mark Simonich stuff with a new opponent you haven't seen before, who is in Australia. So unfortunately, those playthroughs will be at a strange time. So if in the US, you'll have to get up really early. If you're over in North America, you'll have to get up really early to see those. But what the hell? I just inconvenience my audience. I don't mind. Works for me. Good. And what do we got here? Yeah, Bob is interested in the Pacific version of Atlantic Chase, indeed. And I think there's going to be some details on that in the War Room on Saturday, which is tomorrow. I think they've got Jerry White on that talk show and might be giving some information on that. So, yes, we'll be interested. I know, Bob, you're interested in the Pacific rather than the Atlantic. So, yeah. Yeah, looks like that's going to be good. So that's what we got. There are some other stuff. I mean, Cole there wants to play a game, so we'll see what happens there. Just want to go through, and it's very quickly, my Vassal games, what I'm playing. So let me just switch the camera off. And here is not much has happened. So this is my Gallipoli 1915 campaign. I'm on the Brit versus 3 Australians, and I'm playing the Australian, the New Zealand, the Anzacs. So all that's happened is we've gone into twilight turn. So this is 6 o'clock to 8 o'clock turn on the first day. We arrived at dawn. We've got a nice perimeter here. The Turks have doled up and are staring at me and starting to dig. I'll be digging very soon. One thing I did was I was able to get the New Zealand Brigade here, which is the black topped guys here, to come out of reserve and to do an attack up towards this area here to build up a bit more of the line. This Ottoman regiment was threatening to come over the hill and come round on my flank, so stopped that. Next 2 turns will be night, so probably not much happening other than digging and getting back officer points. But that's what's happened so far on that. Next we have the Pericles hasn't moved, and the Stellar Horizons hasn't moved either. What have we got here? This is Into the Woods. So this is scenario 2, which is just horrible for the Union. I'm playing the Union here. As you can see, the Union here is left with this small set of forces in the corner, completely outnumbered by the Confederates. This is the start of the Shiloh attacks of the first day, so of course they overran loads of Union units at the time. I'm just trying to stay on the board. What's happened so far is I've been able to take quite a few lumps, particularly with the artillery units here. There's a non-disordered unit there which just took 12 kinds of lumps out of some of these attacking regiments from the Shavers Brigade here. As you can see, there's some point losses, etc. This is Stigler's vassal, so well done Stigler, thank you. But I'm not sure I'll still be on the board by the end, in which case I'll lose the scenario. There's only, well, kind of 2/3 of a turn to go, really, in that. It's only a 2-turn scenario. But that's that one. And here's a new one I've picked up. So I've joined in with a couple of guys who are going to be playing 1914 Offensive à Outrance, the 1914 series. This is Western Front. And I'm going to be playing the Belgians and the British. So the Belgians are, if I can zoom in, here. These are the dark blues here. So we're starting. The game starts after Liège. So Liège is here. It's been taken by the Germans, but I'm on the Jet River and also Namur, waiting for the hammer to fall. And I've got Antwerp, the fortresses at Antwerp to the north here. The British at this moment in time, at turn 1, don't really appear until turn 3. All I've got is an army base over in Le Havre. That's all. But we're just starting that. There's no moves. Nothing's happened yet. We're still sorting things out. But that'll be interesting to play. First time I played this game properly. Played a lot of Twilight in the East, which is the earlier Eastern Front game, which is slightly different system. But I think I did some of this stuff. I did some of this stuff with Pat Mullen, but I'm not sure I didn't think I broadcasted it, so just tried it out. So yeah, that's offensive. So it's all the way to Switzerland. Yeah, the whole Western Front for the whole of 1914. So lots of gameplay there. Right, that's that. Turn my camera back on. So how are we doing for time? It's an hour and a half. So I might actually give Luxa Turner a miss for you guys, because I don't want to spoil all your Friday. Yeah, I'll probably end it there. But anyway, 2,000 subscribers. Thanks everybody for subscribing and supporting the channel. It's great, and good to have so many of you tuning in today. And thanks all of you. I've tried to mention everybody. I think I got everybody. Tim, I don't think I mentioned you. Tim Charlesworth, thank you very much. And I'm not sure if I mentioned Gareth either. But thank you. I'll take a couple of swigs just to finish off some of this champagne to complete the evening. So thanks very much, everybody. Not sure if anything's happening yet with the Rough and Blue stuff on Wednesday. We need to sort our lives out, see what we're going to play. So I doubt it's going to happen. But as I say, we've got the Long Road coming up, second round of that, and then we'll get some Salerno 43 as well on the channel, and who knows, a few other bits and pieces as well. All it remains to say, thanks everybody, and some party chucked out after 90 minutes. Yeah, we've got homes to go to. Dingling. Time, please. Yeah. Well, you've got time for the rest of the evening to do your own party stuff. But what I would say is to remember the 2,000 subscriber dance shuffle. Practice that. It'll be useful in the future. I'm sure it will be. And yeah, keep watching the Tweezers. Trying to do a few more innovations on the channel over the next few months as well, so watch out for that. I'm not going to give you any details because when you see something, you'll go, oh, that's new. And yeah, there we go. Try not to stand still. We just try and shuffle a bit in this channel rather than standing still. So small changes at certain times. But thanks everybody, and have a good weekend. And we'll see you on the 3,000 subscriber party. Yeah, if I'm still alive by then. Until then, bye for now. Cheers.